Hi everybody, welcome to this week's episode, Build With Stakki, and this week we have David Chevalier on. Have I said that right, David?
Yeah, almost. It's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm German. I have a French name, and I'm living in Paris now since a few years since I studied there. But it was
Yeah.
since I grew up in Germany, I heard so many different name variations:
Uh,
SCH, CH, then something with a W inside. So it's Chevalier. It's French, and yeah, my French is not great. I would say it's okay since I live
yeah.
there now, but I didn't grow up learning French. Yeah.
Well, mine's awful, so we'll
Oh,
stick
yeah.
to English for this episode.
Please.
Um, but this week, everyone, we've got David, CEO of Surfe, on the show. David, great to have you. Um, do you want to give everyone just sort of a quick introduction to sort of yourself and sort of what you're what you do with Surf before we go
Sure,
into sort
sure.
of a wider conversation?
So basically, yes, as you already know, coming from Germany, northern Germany. So probably you have heard or have been in Hamburg, so close by. Grew up there, grew up doing a lot of sports, was interested in a lot of different topics, whether that's, from more, I would say, economy and then sports. And then also I played 5 years theater, which I think helps me sometimes when I need to do presentations to speak in
Yeah.
front of people, because that was when I was younger, not the easiest for me, and I think that helped me a lot. So I was always interested in so many different topics, and then I landed in banking when I finished my high school, and I think all my teachers didn't expect that. They thought like, okay, this guy is going for an acting school or something, and I would have I would have wished, but I think it's very tough, and back at the time it was not easy for me to choose that pathway. And so I went into banking, which seems like legit at that time. Okay, I learned something. Went to Frankfurt, and then I did that for 5 years, M&A and leverage finance. But then I felt the need to do something on my own. And I had a first project when I was 17, 18. We kind of in a group started the project to teach pupils and students about financials and education. And we've built a stock market game, which was a fictive. And this was exciting back then. And that's why said after 5 years of banking, I want to do that again. And went then to Paris, where I've met my co-founder doing the master studies, and that's how we started Surf. Yeah.
Ah, wow, excellent. That is interesting. And so, why then? What made you think I'll start a data enrichment or sort of sales tech tool then?
Yeah, so it was a side hustle. We didn't plan it in the first place. We worked on other projects. My co-founder worked on something like a finance project. I've worked on circular economy. We started in a master where basically the aim is to start your own company. And yes, Surf was a side hustle, and we felt the need because we had, I think, a customer discovery we needed to do in the studies, and we needed to reach out to 100 people, and we have been in the US, so we didn't know anyone there. Hence why we went on LinkedIn. And it was during the time of COVID, so we couldn't meet anyone in person. And then we reached out on LinkedIn, and needed to kind of capture all these contacts and messages into CRM to show them to our professors. And it's a manual work for everyone who works in sales, and basically syncing contacts, manual admin, finding also contact information. I've tried back then with first name dot last name at company.com, and
Yeah,
tons of
yeah, all
different
been there.
variations
Yeah,
exactly until something landed, because I didn't know about enrichment tools. I was also a student, so I didn't really have the money to spend on enrichment tools. And that's how it started. And Romain built then the shortcut that started on LinkedIn and the CRM to basically synchronize information. And from there, we've really went deeper into the next data, meaning we added third-party tools. We've built so-called waterfalls, so we actually are connected to 15 different tools. And we've built that waterfall, I would say one of the first in the market, which was 3 years ago before it became trendy. We did it for a big Fortune 500 company. And then we went on and now added more like context, meaning like signals, have an intelligence layer, but always kind of built for the SDR and BDRs. And yeah, it's funny. We started as a side hustle, and never have worked really in sales. I just saw it from my family as my dad works in sales, and now here we are 5 years later, right? So yeah.
Wow. And so you kind of had that whilst it was for maybe sort of like a master's and a project you were working on, you recognize that like that problem of finding contacts, trying to get the information, store that, track that in a CRM or a solution, right? And that's where a lot of the best tools start really. Like the founders often recognized or had that problem themselves and they built something to solve that. And it sounds like the main one, and from our conversations we've had, one of the things you're really trying to solve is those sort of that disconnection between data and the actual like daily sales workflow.
Yeah.
And over the last 3, 4, 5 years, like we've seen reps facing like more and more fragmented tools, manual data pulling. RevOps might deliver the insights, but it doesn't necessarily always translate into actionable steps, and it doesn't stick to the sellers, right? Um, how do you help your customers close that gap, or recommend people start to at least think about that problem?
Yeah, so we've established a framework, and this framework has 4 pillars. So everything starts first, I would say, at leadership and the strategy. So that means, what is your ICP? Who do you want to go after? What's your TAM? And then you start with our first pillar, which is, okay, you need to find the right data for that. That means, if you're looking on a global basis, probably it's better to go with a waterfall provider, because with a single provider or database, which is specified on a country, the coverage is probably not enough. So it starts with a good set of data, and that's why we've established this waterfall. So you have access to 15 different tools through one unified interface. That leads to higher coverage, that leads to higher find rates. It's quality optimized, and also transparent, because when we went into this market, it was not really transparent. You didn't know where was the data like coming from, and we show like all the different databases who pulled up, found the data, so it's very transparent for the user. But then it's okay. You have a list of raw data points. Let's say you have a list of companies, maybe contacts, and then you have even enriched them with the mobiles and phone numbers. But it's still a list, so you need to know who to reach out, right? To what to say, how to prioritize, and that's where we then added the second pillar, which is context. So here, this is the intelligence layer, I would say, where we search web search, third party, CRM as well, to see, okay, is there job changes, for instance, happening? Is there funding? So is there something on LinkedIn, what they mention in posts and keywords? So tons of signals, which helps you to prioritize that list of raw data, I would say, and then helps you.
Just to
Yeah,
jump in on that point as well, I think that's the key to it. It helps you prioritize. Signals should help you prioritize and help the reps prioritize their focus, their time, their energy. But it doesn't mean you suddenly ignore everything else on the list and you
exactly.
just sit there waiting for signals, which I do see teams go wrong with.
Exactly. But then I think where we see most of the teams fail, at least in mid-market companies, is between the context pillar and then the action pillar. Because data and context, let's say in a mid-sized organization, there's a RevOps team who finds the data, who finds the contact, like emails of mobile phone numbers, who then even edit the signals through. There's also plenty of other tools who help there. But where do they deliver then this prioritized list? They often deliver it in the CRM, and the CRM is not actionable. It's a system of record at the end of the day, and a rep doesn't do outreach from a CRM. So that's where I see a lot of organizations fail, because RevOps don't deliver it where it's actionable for the sales rep. And the sales rep at the end of the day is the person who is who kind of takes the strategic approach from leadership. Everything trickles down through RevOps and other kind of revenue organizations until it lands at the SDR, BDR, or full cycle rep, and they are the tactical. So it goes from strategical to tactical, and between this context and action layer, most of the organizations fail, because then the reps say, yeah, where is this data? I don't know where they got the data from. There's no feedback also from reps coming to RevOps often. And that's where I see organizations fail. So where we really specialize on is bringing that prioritized leads in an actionable format. That means where the prospects work. So that's what we always focused on. It was in like next to LinkedIn, in the browser, next to your CRM, where you get context. Okay, you've closed the deal. Here are 10 other lookalikes. You should go and prospect next. So we don't want to kind of force the user to use a new interface, to learn something new, find it which is out of their workflow. We always try to push it into their existing workflow. And that's kind of our 3 pillars: data, context, action, and then the outcome of it is what we call flow. And then the whole revenue organization is in flow, and it works.
Yeah, see, and one of the key points there, which is why I think you're thinking about build, Surf, you're helping customers and stuff in the right way, is that you want to serve the data and a prioritized list to the reps where they work, like where they do most of their outbound, whether that be an specific engagement tool, whether it may be, if you're just cold calling, if you're an SDR on one of my teams, you're probably doing still cold calling, and you probably just want like a clean list in your CRM that you can call through. But where we see like a lot of people have gone wrong over the last few years, it's that like stapling on to the tech stack of different tools, and before they know it, they've got 3 or 4 different logins, and they have to go over here. Oh, this is the information the RevOps guys are giving us. I need to log into 6sense to do this. Okay, now I can come back to my CRM. Okay, now I've actually got to go to LinkedIn and find a few contacts. Now I can put them back in. Now I can make some calls. And that is just slowing everyone down. And so I guess that's where I think you've built a really slick, good motion, a tool, that fits in nicely into those motions. So reps can get back focus and they're fed the right data. And my prediction that I keep talking to people about on this show is that going into 2026, the best reps are going to start to really excel, because tools are now giving them the right data, so their capacity to just do more execution is going to increase. And there's going to be a bigger gap for you, and maybe with some of the customers you're working with. What do you think that like streamlined and most effective sort of stack is likely to be going into sort of 2026 or 2027?
I mean, I agree. We die in tool sprawl, because I have been in kind of a RevOps GTM meetup like last week, and often when we had discussions, they were talking about tools, and like their what new tools there are and how they plugged it in. And in basically one conversation, they mentioned 15 to 20 tools, and I was like, guys, let's please do not forget what is the initial goal we want to achieve. It's okay, book meetings at the end of the day. And if we have 15 tools for the SDR and BDR, they are overwhelmed. I mean, look at the screen of a browser of an SDR, BDR, let's say last year. We have seen, and still this year, we have seen 5 different Chrome extensions, probably on one browser window, because you click yourself through each of them. That's just 5 for finding contact data. And then you need to add all the rest, the CRM, the sequencing tools, the air calls, so the cloud calling providers, all that on top. So how can you be efficient? How can your flow be efficient? Because you're jumping from tool to tool. So I do believe next year we can leverage all this amazing technology which we have now, and we can leverage, and that's our position, always to augment the sales rep. We are never here to replace. We are just here to basically capture all the research, do all the necessary enrichment, and then even do the analysis of your existing book of business or of your CRM, and based on that, give guided action. And this action needs to happen where they work. And I think since we have also an open API world now, we can connect to all these different beautiful tools to unify, and you don't need to jump anymore between all of those. Because what I see as well is in established companies who wanted to own their interface and have everything in their own UI UX, they massively open up offering an API. So we see now basically the information is flowing, and you don't need to be set into a SaaS product anymore. You can be really flowing and receive that information. And I think that's where we're going at. I mean, you see even ChatGPT, you have all these APIs connecting now, and you could run a search in ChatGPT, give me 10 lookalike companies of Microsoft, find me decision makers in there. Everything is API connected now. And I think next year we should really focus on the workflow, because that's where efficiency comes, and then see what we can push into this workflow as information, hopefully via API, to not have an overload for the rep at the end of the day between switching tools and context.
And I think like more and more when we work with visitors and users of Stakki, it's actually we just take a step. Everyone comes and say, "Oh, we need better data. Our connection rates are down." It's like, okay, well, what's the actual workflow for your reps look like? And once you try and challenge them to map that out, and then when they realize, oh, actually, it's because they are making maybe 3 calls and then they're jumping somewhere else to find more information or data, and they're just never getting into like a consistent calling rhythm or a consistent outreach rhythm. So they don't reach that kind of like flow state of just consistently working, getting better over time. And that's what's breaking people's pipeline down, right?
Yeah.
On that, then, this having just sort of outlined where you think sales stacks are going to go and where people should go, let's jump into the sort of build with Stakki piece. Love to just understand, how do you set your team up? How do the tools? What are the sorts of tools that you guys are using? So, what sort of CRM do you use at the moment? I'm going to guess it's probably a HubSpot.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
I mean, we have, of course, all these different CRMs. I mean, our products connect to CRM, so we need to have
yeah,
demo accounts, but our internal one is HubSpot indeed.
yeah. And then obviously we're using Surf, and you can see here,
Yeah.
Surf is able to cover sort of all of your list building needs, pick up on signals, provide good email, provide good contact data, because
Yeah.
you've got that water flow. A lot of people that I speak to really like the LinkedIn features that you have. So people can sync the conversations that reps are having
Yeah.
ad hoc on LinkedIn. They got
Yeah.
a button, they can sync that conversation, and that's normally conversations that like a lot of the time people or SDR leaders miss out. They can't really see the insight that reps have on that. So that's a
Yeah.
key feature that I think
Yeah.
people really like.
And since we've opened this year and launched our API product, you can really kind of embed Surf in any of your custom workflows. So we really use Surf from everything TAM building to contact level enrichment and signal
Yep,
enrichment to really have a prioritized list to go after. And of course, in our own UI UX, we make it super simple for the sales rep. So they wake up to a daily list of actionable leads. They see, okay, this is my book of business and there have been job changes and you should go after them because ABC. But if
yep,
you say, I really have my custom place, no worries. We have now an API with 5 different endpoints. So the most rich
yep,
API, you get search endpoints. So you can search companies and people. You get enriched endpoints for email, mobile, and you have even a lookalike endpoint. And next year we even also launching our recommendations. So these different signals as an
Nice.
endpoint as well you can plug. I think, yeah, that's what I said. You need to, for next year, you need to have an API, and because that's where we
Yeah.
see the market going. People want to plug, want to build on their own, have complicated stacks, or the,
Yeah.
the 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 need of building is. I mean, we have a GTM engineer now. We haven't had this this job
Yeah.
profile in the last year, so that's why we said, okay, we have our own UI UX, but everything you get in the product from a data perspective, you now have via API. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you've got all of those sort of data points, signals, insights covered
Yeah.
from Surf. Are you using any other data tools and stuff uh, yourselves,
So
or what's next in your
I
stack?
mean, with Surf, we have 15 different providers built in on the
Yeah.
enrichment side and signal side. What we are using as well is Instantly um,
Hmm.
on the email sending and sequencing.
Yeah.
Then what else do we have here? We use Mojo, so it's something like Gong, but from France. We use that
Yeah.
for our call recordings and trainings. What else do we use? We use Open Phone, I think is the name. We've so this is basically our
Okay. Is that a
or on
dialer?
off. Yeah, a dialer on or on off. It's called. I think no.
Okay.
We
Cool.
switch. No, we switched to Orem now. Yes, that's the dialer. So we
Okay.
switched
Orem
recently.
now.
Exactly. We found Orem the best because
Okay.
it actually increased our connect rates. I think by times three. So we've really
Yeah.
tested a lot, and
Very. Yeah.
Orem
Really
is the
good
one. Yeah,
dialer. They've
yeah,
now got. You've got people always obviously know it as a parallel or a power dialer, but you can
yeah,
also just make single dials on it. People don't feel like you have to know how to use a parallel dialer.
yeah,
They've also got, I'm sure they've got some conversational AI and stuff in there as well now,
yeah,
and obviously virtual sales floors and stuff, which is great.
yeah. Exactly. So yeah, this is so far from what I can see here, our stack.
Nice.
Um, yeah, that's most of it. Yeah, instantly. Or then we
And
use
see,
we use instantly more for ABM and marketing related, and
yeah,
for own sequences, the reps
mhm,
depends. I think most of them are now on Hubspot sequences. We've used
yeah,
also some of the sales enablement tools before, but we still use also Salesloft, some reps, but most of them are now on HubSpot sequences. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so what I'm reading between the lines there, where you've got maybe some sales loft usage
Hmm.
still,
Yeah.
that might be, and you said you've got an ABM approach, so that's probably for like the more enterprise, the sort of ABM specific, sort of well thought out sequences and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got a reliable power dialer, so that people that maybe the mid market, maybe the smaller end of sort of your target lists, your reps
Yeah.
might be sort of calling through those consistently with all this good data that you're surfacing from Surf.
Exactly. And
And
I mean,
again,
we have also connection between Serve and Salesloft. So when our
mhm,
reps are,
yeah,
let's say, prospecting on LinkedIn or in our own application and they find a contact, then they can with one click edit into one of their sequences and we do the enrichment as well. So there's like
yeah,
probably 3-5 step that took you before is now just one click. Yeah.
exactly. And that's again why Surf is becoming more and more one of the tools that we kind of recommend people look at straight away, because of that simple click. So yeah, one click from sort of LinkedIn, create the contact, push it straight into HubSpot, but also my sequencer,
Yeah.
and then I can continue. It doesn't. I don't have to go find a contact, go back to CRM, then go back to my engagement tool. I can just do it all from the LinkedIn. As soon as I find that contact, push it to where I need it in
Yeah.
multiple places.
Yeah.
And this just shows like a nice simple stack. We've got really good data tools that are picking up all the necessary signals, helping me build my target lists, and then we've got good outreach. And one thing you mentioned instantly goes back is sort of more from the marketing side as well. So that's more of like your marketing and email, great tool for that. Going to
Yeah,
protect your domains, protect the infrastructure, and then your team can use some sequences, but they can also rely heavily on the phone,
exactly.
which is what we love to see.
Super simple. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't need more because, I mean, with Surf, we cover these 15 different tools as we are waterfall. And we are also on top of LinkedIn. So we don't do automations, message sending on LinkedIn because um, we really don't believe in it. We always have a more targeted approach because we are also targeting more mid-market, but you can sync different activities into your CRM. And that's a big advantage because from a training perspective, LinkedIn was always a black box. So I don't know what my reps are writing there. And I need to train them. I have training data on email, I have training data on calls, but less on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is became more and more important. I have one rep who just sources all her leads basically on LinkedIn, and she doesn't do a lot of cold calling because she has I think 5-6 mid market opportunities still for that now lined up for Q1, and it's all sourced from LinkedIn, and these are Fortune 500 companies. So yeah, I think you with
Nice.
this simple stack you have everything there from I mean, a CRM. We started, of course, with another CRM, which is more smaller. I mean, at the beginning, we even started on Excel or something. But I think Hubspot serves all the needs we have, and it's still quite scalable. And then you have Surf for the self prospecting and rep facing tool. We have the enrichment, and then we have Aurum as a cloud call. We even have integrations to air calls. I would like to build also with Surf an integration to Aurum to kind of have also no break in there. And then yeah,
That'd
we
be
have the
great. Yeah,
yes. So I've pushing them, but I think as it's Q4, I need to reconnect in next year. But I see that these tools also now connect or offer inside like an enrichment piece now, so that you can also enrich mobiles directly with those tools.
exactly. Most calls I think are sort of just adding more and more features, and soon most people are going to be able to work just through like do most of their work on one tool, one platform. And 3 or 4 years ago that platform may have just been the dialer or just a cadence tool or just a data tool, but now there is more and more consolidation. And it goes back to what we said, and you're proving there from that stack you just built that you are sort of living what you preach. You haven't
Mhm.
got tons of tools overcomplicating things. You've got the good data going to the team, and then you're letting your team sort of, whilst they can do a lot of calling, they can also pick the channel that suits them best and how they want to work best, which is key. So great example of doing practicing what you preach, which is what we love to see. Absolute pleasure talking to you, David. Been great to have you on, understand a bit more about Surf, the sort of theory behind it, the frameworks and the methodology you guys are I guess, bringing to the market and bringing to your customers. Um, we love what you're doing, and we love, recommending you to our customers. So, where can people go to find out maybe a bit more about you, follow your story, or sort of Surf's story?
Yeah, of course, let's connect on LinkedIn. So it's David Chevalier. I think my name is also showing up here, at least in the video. But Chevalier, it's like French Chevalier. So let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm mostly active there, and otherwise, yeah, I think LinkedIn is the best where you can catch and where we can connect. And yeah, I would love to get if you have if you're trying Surf to get your feedback, especially on the newer things we are doing. And otherwise, just exchange. What I often do is when I have webinars and we show kind of our workflows in there and our messaging, that I end up basically texting back and forth with webinar guests on LinkedIn and exchanging their ideas and templates, which is fun. So yeah, let's do that and connect there.
Excellent. Great to have you on, David. Appreciate the insights. Everybody, if you can please like, subscribe to Build With Stakki on YouTube and follow us on LinkedIn and other socials.